I'm going to explain something to you called what I'm calling the dopamine drop or the dopamine dip. And if you have ADHD, you experience this on like a fucking minute by minute basis. What happens when we experience something like disappointment or a like steep change in our environment, whether it's like stimuli, like something exciting, and now it's like something boring, like work versus the weekend or whatever, like the Sunday Scaries is a great example of this. That contrast can be very hard for people who experience ADHD or like who have ADHD, like after a wedding, after a conference, after a party, after a concert, after like just like a big fun celebration, and then the contrast of going back to your day-to-day life can be so viscerally painful. And so the reason why this is so hard is because our nervous system, a healthy nervous system, is set up to handle contrast and change. And one that is very much in like survival mode, it has a hard time with that contrast and change, because the job of that part of your nervous system that's in survival mode, its job is to keep you safe, aka the same. And when you have that contrast and that change, it's like, oh, we can't handle this. And so I'm gonna share with you how you can integrate some of that, and how you can make sure that like this is the moment where you end up impulse spending the most to try and get rid of that feeling of disappointment, and how you can curb that so that you're not continuously trying to spend your way out of feelings. So what happens here is your nervous system, your body, and your brain need integration, okay? It needs to sift through all the things that it just experienced and make connections and like metabolize the hormones and the chemicals that were released, and it needs to like just literally like process all that stuff. And you can do this through three things. One is like, it is so important during this period of time to get good sleep. Prioritize getting, like being in your bed for 9 hours at night. Just give it 3 nights. 3 nights of a good night's sleep, dude, will fucking change your whole world, especially when you're integrating something big. The second thing is movement. Movement is so important because when you're going through those really exciting, fun things, it's technically stressful for the nervous system. Stress just means like change. So you're going to be experiencing high levels of cortisol or adrenaline, and like those are hormones that like we need to do something with. And the best way to like absorb that and metabolize it and transform it is through movement. And the third thing that most people skip is some form of practice that allows for metacognition to happen, which means just like being aware of what you're thinking, feeling, and doing. And one of the best ways and the reason why that's so important is it gets the prefrontal cortex to turn on, which is emotional regulation, impulse control, planning for the future, and complex decision making. All those things start to go offline when we feel emotional, especially after a big shift or a big change. And so one of the best ways to engage in metacognition is by journaling, praying, walking around in nature, like meditating, something where you can just let your thoughts kind of wander, ping pong, like just let it dance, follow the ADHD, follow the dragon, because that gets your reticular activation system online. And when that happens, memory consolidation can happen. Memory consolidation is really good for the brain when it comes to like taking what you experienced and learning something new and applying it to the future and being able to like adapt to change. And so, but the thing is, for people with ADHD, it's so hard because we don't have a consistent, I shouldn't say source, because it's not a lack of dopamine, it's that we're not usually able to receive the dopamine that we get produced in our brain. That's usually what ADHD is. And so we have a really hard time integrating those things because we don't sustain focus in the way that other people do. We either sustain it for a long ass time or we can't sustain it whatsoever. And when we're able to come down and integrate those really big moments of like physiological stress, we actually expand our ability to concentrate and to think for a long period of time and to handle boring, which is so hard when you have ADHD. So don't let the dopamine drip spiral you into spending money in those moments, because a lot of the times we feel an emotional discomfort and we're like, we had to solve all these problems, we had to fix these things. It's like, no, we just had to figure out a way to come down from it.